Welcome to the Influencer Show with your host, Ben Salmi.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Influencer Show, where I interview people who can help influence the way you live life in a number of different ways. I'm your host, D7, and today we have a very, very special guest with us, Tim Chase. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to listeners and let them know a little bit about you.
Hey mate, my name is Tim Chase. I am the founder of TruChallenge. And I also have a couple of podcasts, one with a football legend called Gilberto Silva. Now, some of your fans and audience might not know who he is, but some of the Arsenal fans would. So he won the World Cup with Brazil in 2002, and he was an Arsenal invincible. As a Chelsea fan, I don't really care, but he's obviously a decent footballer. So I'm the founder of the social media platform taking over the world that's called TruChallenge.
That is absolutely amazing. And guys, feel free to check that out. We'll be leaving the links to where you guys can do so at the end of the video. And why don't you share with the listeners why you do what you do?
So I don't really know what I do, if I'm honest. I seem to do lots of different things. So like I say, I do a weekly podcast with Gilberto, and I have my own podcast called For Fan's Sake. But my, I guess you call it day job, is making awareness of the platform. So our platform, as I sort of said to you earlier, TruChallenge is like a better version of YouTube, if you like. So you can watch videos of people like the F2, and they can set challenges, do challenges on YouTube, and people watch it and think it's amazing. But on our platform, you can take on your heroes. So you can either start your own challenge with your friends, how many keepy-ups can you do, crossbar challenges, things like that. But our platform allows you to upload videos to the challenge that you started done. So we've done challenge with #United, the F2, Roma, Chelsea, and we've just signed FIFA, UEFA, and the FA to the platform, and the NBA as well. So yeah, so our place is kind of getting kids and people active, you know. So I had the idea for TruChallenge when I became a single dad to my son, who's now 7. He was 2.5 at the time, and I was a headhunter, which means I go and find senior people jobs at banks, which is pretty dull and boring. And I kind of wanted out of it. I had my own business, it was doing quite well, but I was just bored of it and obviously wanted to spend more time for my son. So I could see him spending loads of time on watching a kid called Ryan's Toy Review. You heard of Ryan's Toy Review?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he used to spend all his time watching this little rascal called Ryan's Toy Review all day long if I let him. And I was like, my childhood was I played football until I was bored, and then I go riding my bike. And when I was bored of riding my bike, I played football. So like, mate, you're missing out on so much life. Also, you've got so many toys. So when I was watching what he's watching a kid unwrapping presents. I'm like, how boring does that sound? So I thought there must be like a website or an app or a platform out there, which means that he can not only watch this Ryan's Toy Review, his favourite guy, but do what he's doing. So here's how you build the best fort. Go and grab your mum and dad's pillows and duvet and build your best fort and show me what you can do. And I couldn't find anything out there. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. So that was the first launch of the app came in October 2016. And we got 2 million views in our first challenge. So immediately I was like, oh, wow, I'm already out of my depth. So I need to go and find some people that do know about it. So we got some investment on the back of that pilot. And then the next challenge was almost a year later with an Italian football giant called Roma. And we got 1.7 million views in 2 weeks, which kind of blew us away. And then we did a challenge with the F2, which got nearly 2 million views in a week. And then it's just built on from that. So just kind of kept on evolving. So I got my kind of inspiration from my son. So it's the bald head and the tired eyes are completely his fault.
That is absolutely amazing. That's actually an amazing story, how then you were then able to see a problem and simply create a solution. Because like when people often see this, they're thinking, oh, why can't this be done, things like that. But you actually then took action and created what you wanted to see.
Yeah, but I think that's a really important, interesting point. So part of my clients when I was a recruiter is actually now our chief digital officer, and he's a guy that I trusted and knew for 15 years at the time. And I kind of went to him and said, look, I've had this idea, but it might fix a problem for me, i.e. getting my son off the sofa and off his iPad. But is it a business idea, or am I just solving a problem for me? Because if I'm only solving a problem for one person out of 6 or 7 billion people around the world, it's never really going to be a business. And he went straight away, this is an amazing idea, we've got to go for this. So yeah, I think the important thing is if you have an idea, certainly go for it, but you've kind of got to make sure that there's some people around you that are going to kind of give you real advice. So, because if Darren's his name, if he'd have said, it's a great idea, Tim, but it's got no commercial value to it, I probably would have stepped back on that. Actually, probably no, because he was someone I trusted and we'd worked together before.
Definitely. I think that's like really important, then having that network and that support around you to then guide you and just like give their thoughts on your ideas, because then not only does it help you save a lot of time, but then it also helps you then look at things from the customer's perspective.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we're going through at the moment. We're kind of trying to understand the journey of our users. So we want more people taking part in challenges. How do we get more people to hear about TruChallenge? We can't just spend loads of money on social media advertising. We need some sort of ambassadors on board that are going to really love the platform, which we're starting to build out now as well. So yes, I think it's really important having people that you trust. It could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be someone that you've worked with. I also think that there's a certain amount of self-confidence you need to have. If it's an idea that you trust and you know it's a good idea, don't give up at the first hurdle, because we've been in business for now 3.5 years. If I'd have given up at the first hurdle, then we wouldn't have got this far. So yes, I think it's kind of a tricky balance between respecting someone's decision who says don't do it like this, but also going, I really believe in myself and I really believe in this idea. Let's find a solution for that, because TruChallenge is a solution for something, but within TruChallenge we have hundreds of problems to solve every day. So just because those hundreds of problems within TruChallenge need to be solved doesn't mean TruChallenge is a bad idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand. Totally. And could you share with us what you would say has been the biggest influence in your life that you wish you had known sooner?
Wow, that's a big question. I think it's a different answer if you ask me personally, about my personal life, and about work life, and about footballing life. I think probably the biggest overall message I've learned is no regrets. And I think you could all, so when I had the idea for TruChallenge, I could be sitting here, not have done nothing with it, and then in a few years' time, someone came up with the idea, similar to TruChallenge, became a billionaire or changed lots of lives. So that would have been a regret. So that's one of the reasons I persevered and went through it. Literally sold another business to pay for it. So I sold a successful business in order to pay for TruChallenge. But also, I think my son, in a strange way, has been a massive impact on my life. His family is the number one thing in my life, and all else doesn't matter. But those people have sort of given me the strength to go through. So great examples from my parents. My father and my mother have given me great life stories, great influence on my life about being a good human being. And those stories have enabled me to become a good parent. And it's not until I became a parent that I understood the stories and the discipline they were putting me through as a young kid myself. So I think it's a mixture of parents, it's family. My family is to answer your question quickly, family. There you go.
I think actually those play a huge role, because then having that family around you, it's up to them to then install those good habits and make sure that everything's in place to not only prepare you for life, but just prepare you for things and obstacles that you may come across as a result of building new things. And I think that in today's day and age, people aren't as conscious when it comes to raising kids. They just hand them over to the school, and they're as long as you're in there, it's fine. When you're home, you do your homework and that's it. But it's about them taking that conscious responsibility and having things in place, and just even having mentors, coaches in different areas of their life so that they can simply thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned from this lockdown, is that while I thought I gave my family a lot of time, it wasn't actually 100% me. Now, I'm not going to play that I've got a horrible life or anything like this, but my hours could be quite long. So I started at 4 o'clock this morning. I'm not going to be finished till midnight tonight, because we've got clients all over the world. Now, within that gap, I've given myself 3 hours during the day to spend with my family, because there's no point in me being the guy in the home office not seeing my kids, because my family is the reason why I'm doing everything. So what I've learned from this is actually giving myself, not being more present when I'm with my family. So rather than being with my family and then sending an email here and dealing with a phone call there, phone goes in another room, and we do more things like walking together. It sounds like, and I don't put a time limit on that. Right, guys, I've got an hour for us to go for a walk. So a walk goes on for an hour and a half. What's the end of the world? You know, it's not. You know, it's kind of, I think you'll find a lot of people have found that it's a lot of reset. It's a big reset for a lot of people, because, like you say, you hand them off to school. Well, school is now at home, so we've got to factor in everything, and also understand that everyone goes through kind of tough bits. Everyone's struggling. It doesn't matter if you're a 2-year-old kid, because I've also got a 1-year-old son. It doesn't matter if you're a 1-year-old kid or a 7-year-old boy or a 40-year-old man or a 60-year-old man. You're all going to have your own issues and troubles dealing with this lockdown, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. It's about like just having that, like, not only by work on yourself are you then able to improve the levels of your success, but then you're then able to tackle those problems should they ever arise, really. And Tim, how do you prefer to influence others to change where they live their lives for the better?
Oh, good question. So obviously with nowadays, and certainly with my work, I have outlets through my podcast, through my social media. But generally speaking, for my sort of close group of friends, I guess it's kind of leading by example, especially for my son. My son's now 7, and he watches me like a hawk. And I see his behaviour, and I've noticed that from when he was about 3. He replicates my behaviour. So when I take my time to teach him how to do something, I've seen him then in the park, even when he's about 3, going at a kid that was struggling to climb up the climbing frame, was kind of, you can do it, don't worry about all the things that I used to say. And it hit me, was like, actually, he watches everything I do, from how I treat my girlfriend, to how I treat my son, to how I speak to other people on the phone. He watches me about everything I do. So I need to influence him in a positive way.
And I think that's like really important, that many people are not awakened to the fact that actions actually do speak louder than words. So it's about saying and doing the same thing. Because if you're saying, oh, be respectful and things like that, but then on the phone you're there yelling at people, disrespecting them, then it then leaves them at a point where they're full of confusion and they're thinking, oh, should I do what he said, or should I do what he does? So it's just about staying true to what you say, and it's about having that congruency.
Yeah, I think you're right. Plus, I also think I've never been. I mean, everybody gets upset, but even when my son does something wrong, this isn't a podcast about me being a dad, by the way. But every time my son would do something wrong, and still does now, I'm not a person that believes in shouting and screaming. What if I shout and scream it there and then he may just be too scared and just go, oh, okay, Dad's upset. I don't even know why. Which I take the time to explain why you can't throw darts at your brother or whatever he's done wrong. I sit down and take the time to explain to him why it's wrong. Then he won't do it again. Do you know what I mean? So take the time to kind of explain to him, rather than just going, no, you're an awful child. Take the time to explain to him what's wrong. And I take that through business. So the people that you have working for us and everybody else, take the time to explain it. So then, not that they don't make the same mistake again, but partly because they don't make the same mistake again, but also you probably remember it from, because obviously you're still at school, but I remember at school being shouted at by a teacher for not doing something right, and I was just lost because I didn't know what I'd done wrong. So if you're shouting at me because I don't know something right, there's nothing like that empty feeling in your pit of your stomach, being told off for something you don't know why you're being told off for.
Exactly. Yeah. That's actually so very true. And what would you say people should do to stay motivated during moments of crisis?
Well, I actually had a podcast about this not long ago, and there's two things that kind of go in here. So you've got motivation and discipline. Now, motivation is great when you watch a Michael Jordan video. So I don't know if you're watching The Last Dance on Netflix. Michael Jordan is my all-time hero. I've been quite lucky to meet a lot of really famous footballers and things, and I've never been that starstruck. But if I ever met Michael Jordan, I'll be like a little child, smiling at him, trying to give him a hug, telling him that I love him, really fanboying it, right? Sorry, what was your question? Just got thought about. I was thinking about Michael Jordan.
So, what would you say people should do to stay motivated during moments of crisis?
Cool. Yeah, so that's another point. So there's discipline and motivation. Discipline is doing something regularly, and it's almost like a habit. So, like going to the gym. 5 o'clock, you go to the gym every morning. That's even when it's raining, when it's nice weather, when you've got stomachache or you've got a cold. Discipline gets you to the gym every day. Motivation will get you to the gym every now and then, so one day a week. So, for example, you watch you're going to the gym, so you have an amazing body, and you see someone on Facebook with an amazing body, you go, wow, I want a body like that, I'm going to go to the gym. That's motivation. And motivation is hard to create long strategic stuff from motivation. Discipline is what you need. And discipline is basically internal. My self-discipline can be really poor sometimes. But I think motivation and discipline work hand in hand. So when you find out your weight, if you go, right, I need to lose some weight, or I want to get fit, or I want to be able to score a free kick, or I want to pass my maths exam, or I want to set up this business. Discipline is what's going to get you through that, but you need some motivation along with it. And I would say, so me, for example, I use a massive different variety of people. So I use people that I work with, people like Gilberto, who motivate me. He wouldn't know it, and I'd never tell it to his face. Books, podcasts. There's a podcast that's probably too rude for you, but it's called the MF CEO. I imagine you can probably guess what the MF stands for. They're not very nice words. So that's a good way of getting motivated. But then watching like YouTube videos of Jordan, ridiculous as it sounds, I got up at 4 o'clock this morning because I watched the YouTube video of Michael Jordan last night. And I'm supposed to be a grown-up. There's no way in hell I'm a grown-up. But I think it's getting where I think, excuse me, to answer your question, I think get motivation from where you get motivation. And if you get motivation from watching the F2 on YouTube, then watch a video of the F2 on YouTube. And if that's going to get you off the sofa or off the PlayStation, that's your motivation. If you get motivation from hearing your granddad talk, when you're feeling a little bit rubbish about yourself, give your granddad a call. Do you know what I mean? Whenever you need motivation, find it. And it's a very personal thing. Like, not many people know that I watch Michael Jordan videos twice a week. I've now confessed that to you on your podcast, and I expect to be made fun of a little bit.
And I think that's actually so very true about how the difference between motivation and having that discipline. Because yes, motivation is good, but it's more like short-term gratification. But it's about having that discipline to then do things consistently, no matter whether you feel happy, whether you feel sad. Having that discipline then just helps you maintain that routine. And not only does it help you then create good habits, but it also then helps you achieve your goals quicker. What is your passion?
100%. And you'll actually find that discipline is actually then structures the rest of your life. Man, that's a tough question, mate. Obviously, like I said, family is the number one thing. The passion, make them happy, be a responsible parent, good parent. I guess my passion is TruChallenge Day. You know, that is what I'm looking to do, really pursuing TruChallenge and changing people's lives through that. So I understand the impact that sports can have on people. And by getting people motivated and up, we can genuinely change lives. We've actually had that with our first challenge. The winner of our first challenge, we found out after she took part, was autistic, blind in one eye, and suffers with something called Turner syndrome. So we genuinely changed her life for the good, because she took part in our challenge and gave her the confidence. So her safety net was her football. So it was the security that she had because of autism, was carrying a football around with her all day. Once she won the prize, she then got called up by England and scored 26 goals in her first seven games. She won an award for overcoming adversity, national award for overcoming adversity through sports. So stories like that are my passion. So changing people's lives is probably my passion through the platform.
That is absolutely amazing. Not only your passion, but also how the app was then able to have an impact on others and have a lasting impact on them.
Absolutely.
Tim, if you had a megaphone and you could say one thing to the world that would have a lasting influence, what would it be and why?
Be patient with everybody. That's it. Just be patient. You know, I've learned that in my life, becoming a dad, learning it through business. Patience is what you need to get over. It makes your life easier. It makes you to deal with everybody else around you. Just patience. Whether you're driving a car and someone cuts you up, having a bit of road rage, you don't know what that person's doing. They might be driving like an awful driver because their kid's just been rushed to hospital and they're trying to catch up and go to hospital. You don't know why that is. So yeah, patience is probably the biggest thing.
And I think that's actually so important, especially in the just the age that we live in, because everyone's used to like this whole instant gratification and things like that. But it's actually about then having that patience to then wait for things in life, because we're all aware of the saying, like, good things do take time. So it's about then having that consistent work, as you said before, so then not only you can achieve your results, but then you're then able to impact others along the way. Because let's say that every goal that we set, we instantly achieve them, then we wouldn't then learn the life lessons and the skills, and wouldn't meet people along the way if everything was instant. So everything was made that way for a reason. It's about simply accepting the fact.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's part of a journey.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what advice would you then give to those who have had their so-called £1 million idea at a time like this?
Well, I've had, TruChallenge is still very much a startup. We're not a massive organisation. TruChallenge is hopefully my £1 million idea. And I could have had lots of opportunities to kind of give up on it. And it's just belief that I think this is going to work. And also the most important thing I heard is it only stops once you give up. So TruChallenge is only they're going to fail when I give up, and I'm a long way giving up. There's not much more truth than that. If you have what you think is a great idea and you stop at funding, well, okay, you're going to stop funding, stopping you from having this big idea. Can you not get another job? Can you get a loan? Can you borrow someone else? Can you get investment? There's always a solution. And I think the thing you'll find out about, I don't like the word entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs is they're problem solvers at heart. And the problem changes, like I said at the beginning of this conversation.
Exactly.
We deal with 100 problems a day. So if the problem is, TruChallenge is solving a problem, but within the TruChallenge, let's say we run out of money. Okay, well, how do we get this more money in? Okay, it's this solution. It's being an entrepreneur or having your own business is constantly overcoming problems. Yeah, and that's if it was easy to do, everyone would be a billionaire.
Yeah. I think that I totally agree with that. It's just about simply learning what your passion is and what problem, or simply the gap in the market that you're an absolute expert at, and utilizing that to your advantage, really. And oh no, go on.
You don't necessarily have to be an expert, because I certainly was not an expert in social media, marketing, or sports when I started TruChallenge. I mean, a lot of people said, I think my father said, "What are you doing? You've got a successful business, got a 15-year career in recruitment. Why are you setting up and starting again with an industry you've never worked in before? You have no credibility in it." And what's mad, but I knew in myself that I could overcome these things. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I totally agree with that. It's just everyone has to start from somewhere. It's about getting it done, then getting it right. Because when you then simply go out there, it then simply encourages you to make it even better, and simply trying to improve and constantly improve your tool, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what would you say is the biggest issue or problem that you're aiming to solve as an influencer in your industry?
Well, it's people understand. Our biggest problem is getting people to, not problem, but the biggest hurdle we have is getting people to use the platform, because we're a brand new platform. The conversation we always have is why should we use you instead of social media? Well, ours is designed for challenges. Social media is great for reach, but it's really poor for engagement. So it's getting the message out there, and it's slowly happening, but it's just obviously as well. I said, patience is the thing that everyone should do. I'm not necessarily the most patient person in the world all the time.
No, I totally understand. Definitely, it's about gaining that following and just reaching out to a wider audience. So then, not only are you able to then impact others, but then let's say that you then shared it with 10 people, and then they each share it with 10 people. It's just about having that simple ripple effect to then help people just come in, really.
Absolutely.
What would you say was that the pivotal point along your journey, and what did it teach you?
What, in just TruChallenge or in my career?
Just in life, really, your life journey.
Becoming a dad. That was the biggest thing that changed in my life. Before that, I was when you work in recruitment, you're kind of just doing it for the money. And you do it because you want the flashy things like an expensive watch or a big house or a flashy car. And that's what drives you forward. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But becoming a parent and then becoming a single parent means my message to my child had to change. So that's been the biggest impact in my life, definitely becoming a parent. And I'd imagine if you asked your mum, she'll probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
If you asked anybody, as soon as you become a parent, all bets are off, life changing for the better. It's your fault for all of us.
I think that's like really it's really like important, and many like kids don't understand like the shock, because then when the kid is there, you then not only do you have to think about yourself and think about personal development for yourself, but then you also have to think about the things that you're then having in place for that kid to then simply be able to nurture it, care for it, and have the best things in place, so that not only is it able to survive in life, but it's also able to thrive.
And don't forget, you guys are annoying little rascals quite a lot as well. You know, you do stupid stuff all the time. Don't forget the pressure you put on your parents as well. You know, I'm on team parent at the moment.
I definitely understand. I totally agree. What would you say are the top 3 lessons that you have learned along your journey, and how did they then influence where you look at life?
What are the top 3 lessons? I guess not giving up. There's been so many hurdles that I could come up with. I could just go, you know what, I'm just going to go and work for somebody else. But then I'd have had so much regret on that. I say becoming a parent is a massive lesson. It's teaching me so much more. That probably taught me more than anything else. And yes, I think those are probably the most important things. And I think not having regret, and certainly to appreciate that everything you kind of go through is preparing you for something. So whether you kind of prepares you for something the next day or something in 2 years' time, constantly be learning about sort of stuff. And it's very hard to go through an experience that was quite negative and not taking something positive out of it. Now, something positive, it's really hard to take something positive out. Like, say you lose your job because of the coronavirus. Well, how is it hard? How are you going to take a positive message out of that? Well, the positive message could be, I've had this £1 million idea, but my job got in the way.
Exactly.
I now have the opportunity to concentrate on this idea. But then I have a problem on how to feed my family. I'll get a second job, or I'll be a taxi driver, or I'll be a delivery driver. Maybe a situation like that brings out the opportunity for stuff. So kind of don't. What's the phrase? I can't feel what I'm saying. But there's trying to take the positive out of every opportunity that happens in every situation. You know, there can be some situations which are really hard to take the positive out of, but kind of try best to go, right, okay, this is teaching me something, and there's an opportunity arising here. And just that's why I said patience is important, because don't rush into a decision straight away. Sit on it a little bit and go, right, what is the message? What could this bring us to the table? Because the coronavirus, on the first of it, happened and everyone was locked down. We're like, oh my God, all our clients are going to go out of business. You know, we're not going to be able to work with Manchester United because we can't get to film with them. We can't work with Fred or Ronaldo because we can't get to film with them. Well, actually, it means that our audience is at home looking for things to do. So if you think about it, the coronavirus for our platform like ours is the perfect timing. So trying to take the positive. So we've managed to try and take a positive out of the coronavirus, helping our platform can help people out.
And I think that's really important, just like seeing an opportunity in every downfall, because like something that could be absolutely just detrimental to someone else's company because they don't have those things in place could actually be the thing that another company was simply waiting for to help them not only get seen more, but just to help them grow as a business. So it's about being able to have that optimistic mindset, so that you're then able to see opportunities in every obstacle, and then you're then able to make the most out of just like every circumstance that you then face in life as a whole. And if you had to be another person for one day, who would it be and why?
Jordan, obviously. Just want to be able to do like a jump from the free throw line, be able to dunk it.
Yeah.
I used to play basketball quite a bit and I could dunk it, but I certainly didn't have certainly wasn't Air Jordan.
I think we
Or maybe someone like Elon Musk or someone like that, just a true visionary who just doesn't care about anything. Like, has literally no boundaries. Did you hear the idea that he wanted to solve the traffic in LA? Do you know the traffic in LA is horrific?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had the idea that he was going to do like a tube for cars. So you drive into a tube, you go underneath and shuttle you through to under there. So literally, if you come up with an idea like that, you have no issues with boundaries or obstacles. He also, he set up his own rocket company, for God's sake.
I think it's just about like being able to then see, like, just make the best out of every situation, really, because then not only are you then able to have ideas more freely, but then because you're not in that sort of like mindset, there's no like limitation, there's no like barriers, and you can see everything, and then you're then able to just like take everything that people say with a pinch of salt and simply add that to your craft, and then add your unique personality to it, and then simply just share it with the world.
Absolutely.
And what are your views on the word legacy, and what legacy would you like to leave?
Well, legacy is a good question. So my legacy is obviously my children. The legacy I leave behind. I haven't thought too much about, if TruChallenge became the next Facebook and I suddenly become this billionaire. It doesn't pay worth thinking about, because I don't think it will happen that way. But my legacy is it will live on in my children, my children's children, and hopefully in a few Ferraris as well.
Yeah, don't we all? I think that's like really just important, just like the whole word as like legacy, because like when people often hear the word legacy, they're a bit like taken back, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, they think that a legacy is just about when you die, but it's actually, you can have a legacy and still be alive. It's just about simply, what do people know you for? So like, let's say that you walk down the street to go to the shops, and people then see, oh, you're so caring, you're helping people out and things like that. Let's say that one day you're then being featured on the news or something like that. They simply remember, they're like, oh, I remember when he did this. Oh, he was so kind. Yeah. That is a legacy. Legacy that can still be here as you're alive.
Absolutely. So there's a famous phrase that I love, which is, people forget what you say, but they never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah. And that's actually really important. That's one thing that people they're not often aware of, the fact that that's how it works. Because like, they may not remember your name, but they definitely do remember how you made them feel, or maybe even what you said to them that could have changed their life for the better. And absolutely. Is there anything that, like, let's say that someone's been starting up a brand new business for, let's say, 6 months, or they're just trying something new and they're really starting to give up, what advice would you then give to them?
I would take some time out, because sometimes you can be doing stuff too much and you kind of can't see the real issue with it. So I would say, take a day off, don't even touch anything to do with the job, and then really find out what the issue is. Is the issue that nobody's buying your t-shirts, or is the issue no one's downloading your app? Once you've kind of taken a bit of time from it, because sometimes you're so ingrained and entrenched in what you're trying to do, if you're spending all your time trying to fix this problem or build this business in the wrong way, you're investing your time in the wrong place. So it could be something, quite often happens for me. I've got my dog who's sitting behind me. When I'm going through a bit of an issue and I go, I can't get my head around this, is this the right thing to do? I literally take her for a walk for an hour and come back. And normally by the end of it, I come back and go, right, I know what I'm doing now. I think, and don't push yourself into decisions. I think, like I said before, patience is huge in this situation. Sometimes just letting the dust settle a little bit, and the situation will present itself, or the solution will present itself to you.
Definitely. It's about like just taking that step back and simply analyzing where you are, because then by doing so, you're then able to then get clear on your vision and your mission. And then by being clear on what it is, you're then able to attract things into reality that then can then help you and your business just grow, really. And could you share with the listeners where they can find you if they'd like to find out about any upcoming things you may have?
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually talking at a conference called the Collision Summit, which is with the founders of Uber, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these. There's about 300 top speakers there, and also Shaquille O'Neal. So I'm going to be hopefully doing a podcast with Shaq. So I'll be doing that. But if you keep an eye on my social media, so both my Instagram and my Twitter handles are Tim Chase TC. You can follow me there. If you want to have a look at TruChallenge with all the cool stuff we've got going over there, getting involved in some challenges, that's TruChallenge, TRUchallenge.co.uk.
Oh, that is great. And thank you so much for sharing. I really do urge that you listeners go and check it out. I know I will. And I'd like to thank you for coming on the Influencer Show today.
No worries. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you. And I'd also like to thank you listeners for tuning in to the end. And if you guys would like to have the chance to be featured on the Influencer Show, feel free to email. The email is going to be popping up on the screen. And I hope you guys have a great day. That's it from me. Bye.